Today's episode hits the fan base in the heart and shakes up the halls in Foxborough. There's a yellow light in the backfield, quiet trade chatter that could flip the script, a primetime reunion dripping with emotion, and a collective fan push for a name that lit up the preseason. And in the middle of it all, an old wound flares up at the worst moments. How much does this change the Patriots' trajectory over the next few weeks? You won't believe what we've got today. So take a seat, drop a like, and let's dive right into the news. Ready for the spark we've been missing? When the camera zoomed in on Antonio Gibson limping off against the Bills, a silent message ran through the locker room. The offensive plan needs an accelerator now. The trade deadline on November 4 at 4 p.m. ET waits for no one, and every snap without backfield explosion charges interest. The coaching staff dove into scenarios, reassigning carries, protection packages, and safety valve routes to keep Drake May comfortable while Gibson's knee is reassessed. The profile they need? Speed to keep drives alive in second and short, reliable hands as an outlet, and the versatility to align without telegraphing calls. Because one thing became obvious: without a real big play threat out of the backfield, defenses shrink the field and choke the progression. In that context, one target is gaining traction behind the scenes. In Tennessee, the season started unevenly, and their first win only came this weekend. Exactly the kind of script that can turn veterans with a market into movable assets, depending on the franchise's mid-range plan. Among those profiles, one fit jumps off the page: Tony Pollard. Volume, burst, and a proven receiving resume. In New England's blueprint, he steps in immediately, splitting touches with Ramondre and raising the ceiling of the short passing game with angle, choice, and screens that keep the defense honest. The contract isn't an insurmountable obstacle. Pollard signed a 3-year deal 2024-26. In a trade, the acquiring team takes on base salary and per-game bonuses from the date of the deal. The Titans carry the remaining prorated signing bonus. Translation: you can get immediate impact without jamming the long-term cap if you truly believe in his role through 2026. On the field, the fit is straightforward. May gets a trustworthy outlet to speed up reads. Ramondre keeps pounding inside while Pollard maintains the lateral threat. Play action gains credibility because the run threatens both inside and out. On third and short, the post-contact burst cuts down dead drives. And with non-telegraphed checkdowns, protection can breathe and reduce unnecessary hits on our quarterback. Flexing Pollard into the slot to create mismatches against slower linebackers is a bonus that unlocks 11 and 12 personnel without losing run power. Price and risks: the running back market is cold, so the early range projects a 4th to 5th rounder. If Tennessee thinks his presence accelerates their young quarterback's development, the ask can rise. There are 2025 guarantees that demand an organizational yes for the next 2 years. And here's the debate: would you part with a 4th-round pick for a player who changes your down-to-down output in November? Signals to monitor: Pollard's snap share and red zone usage in Nashville. Any dip hints they're open to offers. Updates on Gibson: the longer the timeline, the more pressure to act before Week 9, and the pre-deadline buzz, that's when buyers and sellers separate. The rumor thermometer sits warm. No reports of active talks, but context, need, and contract structure make the idea plausible. And that wasn't even the most surprising part of the day. When the schedule circled the reunion between Stefon Diggs and the Buffalo Bills, the emotional temperature spiked before kickoff. The context was impossible to ignore. The wideouts returned to the place where things began to unravel, where every look, flash, and cheer carried conflicting memories. In Orchard Park, cameras tracked his every warm-up step, face locked in, eyes fixed on the field where he was once a star and from which he left wrapped in questions about commitment. Now wearing New England red and blue, the stage felt more personal than professional. The tension was palpable. From the moment he emerged from the tunnel, the noise mixed boos and applause, a blend of respect and resentment. NBC made it a spectacle, dedicating special camera cuts to the reunion. The Patriots, of course, knew what this game meant. It was more than a regular week. It was a chance to prove the investment in Diggs was the right move to accelerate Drake May's development and restore the offense's ability to scare defenses again. Behind the scenes, the comm staff operated like it was the Super Bowl. Social posts spotlighting Diggs, short captions, videos with crowd noise muffled under a cinematic track. The official Instagram dropped all business over a shot of the veteran in headphones, blank stare, moments before stepping onto the field. In the comments, fans were split, some thrilled by the reunion, others urging him not to let emotions get in the way. And when Diggs sat down for the pre-game interview, he cut straight to it: respect for the city, gratitude for the past, and an unexpected compliment. Drake is special. He sees the game in a way few young quarterbacks do. On the sideline, young May seemed to absorb every word. Their chemistry was one of camp's big stories, and many inside the locker room believe Diggs has been essential to the rookie's recent jump. He brought leadership, showed how to study defenses, and above all, taught him to play with a chip on his shoulder, that controlled edge that separates good from great. Once the ball was in the air, catharsis didn't take long. On the first drive, Diggs called for the ball, gesturing, pointing at open windows. When he finally caught the pass that put him one-on-one with the Buffalo safety, time felt slow. One sharp cut, a spin, and he dove into the end zone. Silence. than a over-the-top celebration. He simply stretched his arms, looked at the crowd, and slowly nodded. Not a taunt, a release. But the impact went beyond yards. Inside the locker room, teammates said he was the last to leave and the first to congratulate every member of the opposing team. "Diggs showed you can close a chapter with dignity," one veteran said afterward. And interestingly, the pregame hug with Josh Allen drew more buzz than the touchdown itself. Two former partners on offense, now on opposite sides, making it clear that respect outlasted the conflict narrative. For Patriots fans, the game confirms something bigger. Diggs isn't just a tactical piece, he's a symbol of an emotional rebuild. After years of being seen as a cold team without an offensive identity, New England is starting to show humanity. There's chemistry, emotion, and a rookie quarterback who already inspires confidence. Drake May and Stefon Diggs look like they're writing the first lines of a new era, one where talent and passion coexist. While social feeds flooded with reunion clips, one feeling filled the comments. Pride that the Patriots are back in the conversation not only for past titles, but for present energy. The game against Buffalo wasn't just a revenge chapter, it was a reminder that this locker room is tighter than it's been in a while. And if anyone thought the story ended there, think again. Because there's a new name about to enter the chat, and what's coming next is even more unexpected. Every rebuild has that name that starts small and suddenly becomes a shared whisper in the Gillette Stadium hallways. Efton Chism III is exactly that name. A rookie who hasn't played a single official snap yet, but is dominating conversations among analysts and fans, and not by accident. In the preseason, the 5'10", 19.8-pound receiver was the engine of the reserve offense. 12 catches, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns. Precise routes, veteran body control, and a confidence you can't teach. He looked like he had internal GPS. Still, when the final 53 came out, many cheered but also scratched their heads. Active on the roster, yet unused in the weeks that followed. Now that the passing game is gaining consistency and Drake May's development is accelerating, the question echoes, what more is needed to release the Chism? The fan push turned into a social media campaign. Every time the inactives drop, replies explode with pleas and memes. "You can't keep depriving the world of Chism," wrote one fan. Another compared him to a fast-tracked Julian Edelman, just with more route mileage coming out of college. There's substance to it. Chism was a monster at Eastern Washington, putting up 120 receptions, 1,311 yards, and 13 touchdowns in 2024. The Patriots didn't just sign him, they gave him the largest guarantee among UDFAs, $259,000 in a 3-year deal. That doesn't happen unless the front office sees something real. The current context begs for exactly his type. Stefon Diggs is entrenched as WR1 and May's mentor. Demario Douglas is growing steady in the intermediate. But between the quick game and the deep shots, there's a gap. Mac Hollins blocks well but lacks suddenness. Kyle Williams is a raw bet. Enter Chism, the receiver who can break a tackle on first contact and naturally convert 3rd and 5. At last Wednesday's closed practice, internal chatter said he started getting more reps with the ones. Coincidence? Hard to believe. Especially with the passing game now the spine of Josh McDaniels' plan as he tweaks the system to May's rhythm. The rookie has shown maturity, fast processing, and poise in the pocket, but he still needs that target who understands improvisation, who feels the quarterback's tempo. The locker room seems ready to embrace the kid. Bymondre Stevenson was caught saying it's his time as reporters cleared out after practice. If the offensive leaders are starting to endorse it, it's only a matter of time before the field does too. Deep down, the fan impatience reflects a shared craving to see something new, fresh, and authentic. Efton Chism III represents that. Raw talent, fire in the eyes, and a mindset that knows the value of an opportunity. Fans want to see if the hype is real, and after so many years of predictable offense, no one wants promises riding the bench. If the staff unleashes him against the Titans in Week 7, it could be one of those narrative-shifting moments. A rookie on the field, a stadium buzzing, and a chance to witness the birth of a new offensive connection. Sometimes all it takes to reignite a franchise is an unexpected spark, and number 16 looks ready to be that spark. As fans type play Chism under every post, the vibe in Foxborough is quiet anticipation. Something's about to change, and trust me, once it does, nobody will want to go back. And if you thought the story stopped with the young guns, wait until you see what's happening at the heart of the offense, because what's coming now is pure tension. Few topics cost this fan base more sleep than the issue that keeps coming back: turnovers. After a clean game against the Panthers, it felt like the ghost had been exorcised, but one half against the Bills was enough to bring it all crashing down. 3 for fumbles, 2 lost before the first 30 minutes were up. Frustration was instant, fans with hands on their heads. Josh McDaniels wearing the look of someone who's seen that movie before. An offense that promised stability turned into a minefield, and the damage wasn't just psychological. Losing Antonio Gibson to a serious knee injury dealt a double blow to the backfield. The timing couldn't be worse. Gibson had become valuable precisely because he offered what Ramondre Stevenson hasn't delivered: security and balance. And ironically, it was his fumble that reopened the wound. The sequence was brutal. Ball on the ground, Bill's recovery, and moments later, Gibson going down and being helped by trainers, unable to put weight on his leg. The stadium's silence said it all. In a single play, the Patriots lost their primary kick returner and a key offensive outlet. Now the dilemma is immediate. With Gibson out and Stevenson up and down, the load likely shifts to Trevion Henderson, the rookie who hasn't fully earned the staff's trust yet. Henderson was praised for his vision and patience in college, but the NFL jump exposed something the staff has been trying to fix: pass protection. Against defenses that disguise blitz until the last second, each mistake can cost a drive, and McDaniels' plan can't afford that with a developing rookie quarterback. Still, there's a sense New England is being forced to accelerate an inevitable transition. The running back room needs a refresh, and without Gibson, the opportunity is now. Fans are already calling for aggressive movement via trade or a veteran who can hold the fort until Gibson returns. Ezekiel Elliott's name even popped up in forums, but what truly makes sense is a player with lateral burst and short game receiving chops, the kind of profile that keeps the offense breathing when the pocket collapses. The bigger issue is psychological. Stevenson, once a symbol of stability, is back under the microscope. With each fumble, the weight grows heavier, and when a coach must choose between protecting a player's confidence or protecting the ball, the decision is tough but obvious. Patience is running out. Tactically, the next few weeks demand creativity. McDaniels will have to redraw parts of the offensive package. This might be the moment for more 2 tight end sets, easing the rushing burden and prioritizing quick passes, screens, and pre-snap motion to confuse defenses. The good news is the passing game shows signs of life. The bad is that the ground game, the bedrock of Patriots philosophy, hasn't been this unstable in a long time. Gibson's absence also hit special teams, where he'd become the primary returner. That detail, often overlooked, changes average field position, and against Buffalo, every yard was expensive. Inside the locker room, the mood mixes frustration and urgency. The group knows these mistakes, handing over short fields, kill any chance at consistency. But there's a strong belief the talent is there. Discipline is what's missing. May, for his part, has stayed steady, unshaken by the chaos around him. That rookie calm is what's holding the locker room together. What comes next could define the rest of the season. If the team responds, uses the gut punch as fuel, and finds balance without Gibson, the story changes. But if the pattern repeats, playoff hopes will turn into a mirage sooner than expected. And after a day like that, the inevitable question is, has this group finally learned that talent only wins when the ball is respected? Breathe, Pats Nation. Today we saw a team teetering between crisis and turning point. A possible push for a dynamic RB gains weight with the uncertainty around Gibson, and Stevenson swings. Diggs showed leadership and sparked belief in May, and the call for Efton Chism III says the fan base wants boldness. To win, McDaniels has to cut turnovers, speed up the quick game reads, and find balance in the backfield. Would you pay a 4th rounder for an immediate accelerator? Is it time to free the Chism? Drop your take below, hit like, share this with a fellow Pats fan, and subscribe so you don't miss the next updates.